Start storm from your computer.
Yeah.
I know, I thought about it too.
Who's looking right here?
I should have stood out there and waited for you to show up, you don't have to go.
George?
Oh, there you go.
Well, I'm
Smart move.
I always like simple watches. It's fairly simple. That's so watch.
Tell you what, we've been in our house for almost 25 years now, we bought a Connecticut water softener when we built it. That thing was running like a champ, and had no problems, and love it.
Yeah, we find them out there sometimes 35, 38 years. I mean, I'm trying to think I go back about 40. Yeah, isn't that amazing?
Yeah. The only thing I've ever had to replace is there's a little press push connect fitting that started leaking. It's the only thing I've had to do to the whole thing in 25 years. Besides put salt in it.
I've had a piece of
Not to push you.
It's time. Thank you.
And we are right. And we are live.
You're prophetic, isn't it?
Tim, I did print you an agenda.
I saw that we were closing on that first store. Stan Beacon was representing the rest.
We have two.
And they know my
Yep.
brother-in-law's.
First two
I
were
signed up,
Republicans.
and he said that we don't want to right away after that. It's funny because we were told, well, why we were buying this. And then-
Sorry, I just, that's all right.
But yeah, it's a good connect.
I grew up on all the Culligan systems and everything else in the world. I decided to make the extra investment. I'm so glad it did. I'll never buy anything but a Connecticut the rest of my life. I ever build again or anything. It's just.
Hey, we're going to call this meeting to order. Everybody would please rise, face the flag. Continue with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Please be seated. We'll begin with the approval of the minutes of the last meeting. Everyone should have received a copy of the minutes in their board pack. Were there any adjustments, corrections, deletions noted in there?
I didn't see anything, you? Anybody?
It was probably the easiest document of all of them to read.
That's right.
For today, yeah.
Yes, and,
You're right.
interest of getting this meeting going, I'll make a
I'll
motion
second.
that you accept them.
Okay, Mr. Clemens makes motion to approve the minutes as presented.
Second.
And Mike already,
Yeah,
uh,
gotta be quick.
thank you. Mike seconds that. Okay, if there is further discussion, hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Now, we're going to move on to new business, and we have plenty of that. I welcome everyone here. We're going to open this meeting now for, as a public hearing, and we're going to talk about the resolution. Which one is that? Oh, no, we got it, wait a minute, I'm not.
We got claims.
I missed claims, didn't I? We're going to back up a minute and go do the claims for, before we get into new business. June claims, Jeff,
Yeah, we have a
Mr.
few.
Skinner will walk us through that.
We have a few. Retail Strategies is a new contract to sign, $45,000 is the first installment of that contract. Kimple and Associates, $2,120 is for the legal descriptions for the central development area expansion. Engineering Resources, $3,000 for the contract for the work being done on Sheldon Street. Huntington Bank, National Bank, $950 is a fee for bond maintenance. And then we have a lot of our bond payments are as follows: $192,000 is a bond payment, $83,500 is a bond payment, $24,312.50 is a bond payment, $56,787.50 is a bond payment, $138,121.25 is a bond payment, and then the $60,825 are bond payments. That'd be the 3-1 PVD bond payment, it's the Warsaw Commons bond payment, the Central bond payment. and I'm missing one, the airport industrial park bond payment. $120 is the cell phone, my cell phone payment to use my cell phone. Westler, $2,193.75 is ongoing engineering for the lift station project. Barnes and Thornburg, $10,974.62 is for legal services for all the things that are on today's agenda. And A&Z, $5,364.50 is for the engineering work for 300 North and 200 West.
Okay, I just noted that you made a correction on the one Huntington Bank, $950. Has the voucher been corrected on that?
Yes.
Yeah. I think
Very good,
I
so
got
noted.
the typo.
All right. Thank you.
So those are your claims.
Okay, anyone have any questions, concern for Mr. Skinner on the claims?
I got one question answered, so I'm fine with that.
Okay. And then I'll entertain
Is that
a
a
motion.
motion to approve?
All right. Yes, I'll
Was
make
it?
a motion.
Okay, I can second that.
Mr. Clemens makes a motion to approve the claims as presented, and Mike seconds that. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Claims are approved as presented. Thank you very much. Moving on now to Resolution 2023-0601. We'll open this as part of the public meeting.
Yeah, so this is a public hearing. You'll have to open it up to the public prior to approval. This is the first one is the northern residential TIF area. Yeah, so this is the first one's the northern residential TIF expansion. We started this, I think, in November of last year. Worked with the schools to put together our agreement, and they approved their portion last month. So this is the final step in approving these two districts. First one being the northern 2023-0601. We'll approve that northern expansion to allow for that future development to occur.
Okay. This is the northern residential.
Yes, northern residential, yep. And this is a public hearing, so you just open up for public
And
comment.
this is a brand new residential.
It's adding, so we have
Oh,
both,
we
we
added, that's
have
right.
two districts, so we're adding about a 70-acre parcel that'll be developed in this one, and we're adding about 40-some acre parcel in the other one that'll
I
be
should have said
developed.
a new addition.
New addition to it, yeah.
to the-
So they're not moving dirt in the new addition yet, because there's a lot of dirt being moved out there.
Yes.
Okay.
We'll open it up for public comment or questions.
Yep.
Hearing none, we'll move on to the vote. Any questions or comments from the commission members?
Not for me.
Okay, all right.
I guess I asked one.
Call for a motion
I'd make a motion to approve 2023-0601
as presented.
as presented.
Okay, Mike makes a motion to approve Resolution 2023-0601 as presented. Do I hear a second?
Second.
I have a second. Okay, and any further discussion? Questions? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. That resolution 2023-0601 is approved as presented. Moving on to the next one, 2023-0602, and this is for the Southern Residential Economic Development area.
So similar, obviously, as we continue to expand our residential opportunities for growth in the city of Warsaw, these two TIF districts allow us a lot of different opportunities to help assist in that future growth. So we've annexed in some land down there. We're planning on putting $1.5 million lift station in the ground to support its development. expanding this TIF district allows us to get those funds to pay that, for that development.
Is the redevelopment commission going to be paying for that?
So
That
we have
lift station?
agreed, yeah, so our agreement with wastewater, is they're gonna pay for it in cash, and we will reimburse them as we,
For the total
future,
amount?
as we develop out this residential area,
As we collect
as we collect, yeah,
the TIF.
as we collect the TIF, yeah.
Okay. So when you say they're putting in the lift station, they're also putting in the rest of the infrastructure for the conveyor part of the sewage system?
Yeah, we're bringing it to the property. They will build it throughout the subdivision, but
Okay.
we are getting it to the property because it is not anywhere near the property.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. And then Jeremy, just on a side note, who takes care of the rest of the development? Electric,
The
street?
developer does.
Okay.
And who maintains the lift station?
We do. Any sewer line outside of the lateral that runs from the house to our main line is all ours. So even when they
No,
get
I
done
meant-
building.
Which department within, I
well,
understand what
the
you're saying is the
Sewage
city.
department, sewage work.
Sewage department will
Yeah, wastewater
maintain it from
department.
there on.
Yep, wastewater department
All right.
maintains all of our
Just wanted to
infrastructure. Yeah.
Thank you. Okay.
This is a public hearing, so it'll be open for public comment.
Dan, did you have a public statement you want to make on this?
Happy to be here.
We're glad to have you, thank you. Okay, any other comments from the public meeting? Hearing none, I'll close this part of the public hearing and back to the commission members. Are there any questions, concerns?
Jeremy, I read so much stuff for this meeting. Any idea how many lots we're talking about here down there?
Yeah, so the southern one, we're low 90s.
Low 90s. And then
Up north, I think they haven't got it set in stone yet, but it could be high 80s, low 90s as well. So about 180 lots that we'd be looking at.
I'd really like to see a map of those areas when we expand them.
Yeah,
I was
If you could
looking,
provide that.
even in this, I thought maybe there'd be an appendix with just
Yeah.
a layout, but
there was on the original one, but that was in November.
Okay.
It's taken us a little bit of time to get from point A to point B, so yeah. Yeah.
well, you know, slowly
There
but
is a
surely,
map.
we're adding
Yeah,
lots for people to build,
yeah, we've,
developers to come in and build.
Get copies for us for the next meeting.
yeah,
That's
I'll
fine. I
send
mean,
it out
I
to
just
you.
want to see.
Yeah, I'll send it out to you.
Okay, that'd be fine.
Yeah,
Thank you.
we have it on the original one.
Yeah, but we're adding to that.
Any more
as well.
questions?
Yeah, so the addition to the south is the property south of the existing Park Ridge development,
Mhm.
adjacent to Eagle Crest, about 40 acres in between the railroad. You have the railroad on one side, and then you have Eagle Crest and Park Ridge to the north. That lift station we're designing, there's an additional, I don't know, about 100 some acres around there that it will be able to support, owned by the same property owner as the part that we annexed in. So we're hoping as that develops out, there'll be some subsequent developments along State Road 15 where that lift station's at, so.
So that's
Then-
a bigger
Yeah.
lift station than we,
Yes, that lift station will service an additional, probably 120 homes that could be built outside of the 90 that are being built now. So the north one is the 70-acre parcel that's along sandwiched in between Old 30 and, but north of Corridor Drive. We're still trying to figure out how to get sanitary sewer to that. We've got some engineers working on that, so once we figure that out, hopefully it'll get that subdivision going.
is there a problem in that area, in the soil or something?
It's not a soil issue, it's everything in Warsaw is grade. That's why we have, I don't know, 40-some lift stations.
The grade.
Yeah, you got all the lakes, so you got all the lowland, and then everything, we're gravitating to pump everything.
Yeah.
It's just the nature of having Great Lakes and, Gotta work around them. Can't go through them.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
So no, it's not a soil issue, it's just a grade issue.
Okay.
Just trying to figure out how to gravity sewer if we can. If not, then we'd be looking at another lift station.
Okay.
I'll move we approve the resolution 2023-0602
As presented,
as
thank you. Mr. Clemens makes the motion to approve 2023-0602 as presented. Do I hear a second?
Second.
I have a second. So, any further discussion? Hearing none, call for the vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries to approve 2023-0602 as presented. Thank you very much. Moving on to the impact statements.
Yeah, there's nothing, you don't have to necessarily vote on anything. Obviously, as required per those two resolutions, there is an impact statement that needed to be generated, and provided to you and to the public. So you're just acknowledging its completion.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, that brings us to resolution 2023-0603.
So this is kind of the first step in, much like we talked about the GACI, there's a couple of steps that we will be going through to redevelop the Owens property. The first step is bringing that property into the central TIF district. This is the first resolution in that process, much like we just completed with the residential TIFs. The first step is this resolution designating and declaring these two areas, one being the Owens property and the other being the Marsh property. So we're bringing both of those properties into this TIF district. The central TIF district, they'll have their own designated lifespan per the state statutes. But this is that first step. It'll go through the Plan Commission. It'll go to the City Council and all the necessary bodies to get its approval to expand that district. So this is the first step. It'll come all the way through those boards and back to you for the final approval. May take a month and a half to do that, but this is that first step in that process.
Okay. And this resolution encompasses both those properties?
Yes.
The Marsh and the
Yep.
former Owens property?
Yeah, so we're bringing, so we wrapped around the Owens with the last expansion. We didn't want to bring in the Owens because it was property that was being devalued.
Right.
So we were
We intentionally left.
intentionally left it out, knowing that we were going to bring it in once we were able to package it together with something. So it has hence been acquired by the land trust through KEDCO. It's been demolished, so its land value's been brought down as much as it can be, and we're bringing it in, and hopefully, as you'll see next, partnering with a developer to redevelop that property.
Jeremy, as far as the Marsh property, has ownership of that property changed?
No.
Okay, does that have any bearing on what we're doing?
Well, we had.
If we waited over there till it came
Yeah.
down, why aren't we gonna wait over here till it comes down?
We were entertaining the possibility of a development.
Yeah.
So rather than,
Using the existing building?
yes.
Okay.
So rather than do this twice and pay for it twice, it made sense at the time to do it once. That development is no longer lined up at this point. So we can go through the first process because these will be designated separate areas. We may not finalize the Marsh one, but we've already got in a document to start it, so even if we change that before the end, as of now, it's included.
Okay. Thank you.
Is that, in Exhibit B, it says 16.69 acres. Is it really that large?
It is not, no. So in order to get to, so much like the Owens, we had brought in almost up to the Marsh property. But in order to bring in the Marsh property, there's some other parcels you gotta go through. And because we had talked about or entertained developments on the opposite side of Marsh, it made sense, since we're doing it now, to bring in that other side that has some development opportunities. So that would give us some more flexibility in the future on what might happen there. So we are bringing in both sides of State Road 15, the Marsh side and the other side.
Well, I figured that, but I didn't know it was that large.
Any other questions? Okay, I'll entertain a motion.
I'd make a motion to accept resolution 2023-0603 as presented to this board.
Okay. Mike makes a motion to approve resolution 2023-0603 as presented.
I'll second that.
And Mr. Clemens seconds that. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. As presented for resolution 2023-0603. Moving on. Um, 2023-0604, the disposition of some properties in Washington Street.
Yeah, so to go along with, obviously bringing in the Owens property, the city has worked with Kedco in acquiring that entire block. Kedco's holding, the land trust holding has the main Owens parcel, but at the same time, we acquired the little kind of house that used to maybe been a bike sales or repair shop there.
The Tarkio Road building.
Yep, on Washington Street, with the intent of packaging that with the other property and disposing of it to a developer. So part of that process requires the same disposition that we're going through. We just went through with Mentor Media, different is equipment in the Mentor Media case, Buffalo Street's property. So this is the same process, so this is kind of the starting that process of disposing that property to the developer. So this is that first step, and it'll go through this resolution. We'll do a public notice, a public hearing, and disposition of the property.
Okay.
Is that vacant?
It's torn down.
That's right.
Yeah, we acquired it and tore it down the same time we tore down Owens. Yeah.
So it's very vacant.
It's very vacant.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay.
I'll move we approve the disposition of the property for resolution 230604
As
to
pre-
2023-0604,
As presented.
as presented.
Thank you. So Mr. Clemens makes a motion to approve 2023-0604 as presented. Do I hear a second?
Second.
We have a second. So, any further concerns or questions? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, nay. We approve resolution 2023-0604 as presented. Okay. Moving on to the Buffalo Street.
So much like we just started last month, we started the disposition of the Buffalo Street project, which is the townhomes and mews on that Matthews is building. We started that disposition process last month, so we're finalizing that disposition process after advertising, holding the public meeting, and not receiving any bids. This resolution authorizes the disposition of those parcels for the Buffalo Street residential development project. And description A has the description of the legal description of those lots along Buffalo Street.
Don't forget to collect the dollar.
Yeah, we'll collect the dollar. So this process enables us to dispose of those properties, but obviously, as we have done in the past, there will be closings as that property is taken down, which Tim will, as the president, will be the agent in those closings, the signature of those closings. So as we close on that project as it's built, we'll dispose of those properties.
Questions? Concerns? Okay. Entertain a motion. Approve.
So moved.
Mr. Clemens makes a motion to approve 2023-0605 as presented.
As presented.
Presented. I hear a second?
Second.
We have a second. Thank you. Any other questions, concerns? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. We have approved Resolution 2023-0605 as presented. Took me longer to read these things. Okay, and Millworks, 06.
Yeah, so this is the final resolution, goes along with the central TIF expansion in our development of the Owens property. John Anderson with Millworks, AP Millworks LLC is here. He'll talk about the project a little bit. Terry Sweeney with Kedco is here to talk about their involvement in the project as well. I'm just going to tee it off a little bit with what you have before you is the resolution. And this should be very familiar to you because this is what we just did with the GACI project. So the first step in this is the resolution and the development agreement with the developer. There are a lot of hurdles to overcome as we proceed with this project over the next 3 or 4 months. But this is the first step in doing so. So this resolution approves the form of the economic development agreement, which is attached with AP Millworks. That development agreement is laid out on what they're going to do and what we're going to do. You'll notice that in that development agreement, there is some public improvements that we have agreed to, and there is a taxable economic development bond that we will be issuing that will pledge the TIF from this project. There's also us partnering with them to go after some possible state and other incentives, whether it be redevelopment tax credits or ready funds. There is also the agreement that Kedco will initiate with Millworks as well. So those are the kind of the main details in this agreement. I'll let John talk about the project a little bit, and then Terry can talk about Kedco's involvement.
The chair recognizes John.
Good afternoon. My name's, can you hear me? John Anderson, President of AP Development. I have with me Dan Beecher and Matt Roof and Ian with AP Development.
Ian, we'd like to hear from him as well.
Well, I asked him to make the presentation, but there he sits. We're excited to be in Warsaw, excited to work on this project. We presented our proposal in response to an RFP a couple of months ago. We're looking at, right now, 85 units, 3-story building on that site with a restaurant, commercial, retail component on the corner. We've already begun design, schematic design with our architects, working through our financing, some environmental considerations on the site with our plan to break ground first quarter next year, hoping interest rates continue to come down a little bit by then, which would be nice, as well as construction costs. But I'm happy to answer any questions. Not sure if you all have seen the renderings that have floated around, but we're excited to be here, excited about the opportunity, and think it's a great site for what we do. We have several of these in the works across The state of Indiana, I'm an attorney by trade, was a tax credit bond finance attorney for a lot of years, and started my own firm about 13 years ago so that we could develop instead of just represent developers. So that's what's led us here today.
John, do you have approximate dollar value of the project
Yeah, and
estimate? Just
yeah, give or take $5 million, but
A little closer. than
it's
that.
probably, 22 to 25 is our guess. I think when we submitted this, we were around 22. And we're building a project in Goshen that's bigger but similar in terms of construction type. And we're working through those numbers now with our contractor. So we will have a better handle on as much as we can, 6 months out,
Sure.
once we get through those numbers.
Thank
But it'll be 20 is my guess, or a little north of that.
Jeremy, do your people upstairs have renderings or drawings? or-
We have some conceptual,
Okay. There wasn't anything in here to see?
No, I did not attach those to this. I mean, I can send you those conceptuals, or they're working on the design now. It might be more prudent just to wait until they kind of have a design and
Okay.
send that to us.
Yeah, and I walked out without them. I apologize. But
Well-
it was very preliminary, what we had put together, more of a site plan with some massing to it than anything with any real detail at this point. But
Do you have any completed projects anywhere?
we do. We have done a lot of historic rehab as well, which is one of the reasons we're attracted to these downtown urban renewal sites. So Huntington, UB Block in downtown Huntington is ours. We finished that a couple of years ago. That was a 50,000 square foot rehab of 3 historic buildings. Backstay Lofts in Union City, that was an 80,000 square foot factory that we converted to apartments. The old YMCA in Evansville was a 6-story, 72,000 square foot, 1913 building that we converted.
But this will
To
be all
apartments.
new
This will
construction?
be all new construction.
And have you done all new construction?
We have.
Okay.
We have.
We're the ones in Huntington on Jefferson Street?
Um,
Historic buildings?
No, they're just off Jefferson on Franklin, right across from the courthouse.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah. So the way we approach it, if we can do historic rehab, we can do new construction. And we also take what we've learned and some of the elements and the things we like in historic preservation and bring it to our new construction work. We work with a stable of architects and contractors. Crestline, we are working with Crestline Construction on the Goshen project. They're pricing that now. Delb Design is our architect here. They've also designed the Goshen project. So we feel really good about the design elements we've come up with to try to differentiate ourselves a little bit from other developers that are out there.
Good. One of our concerns was to rehab the downtown area here.
Mhm.
I know Mike's concerned in that area.
Yeah, and, anything that's newly built, I don't know that we have any say over, how it looks, but I just would like to know that it's gonna fit within the look and feel of a Midwestern.
It will. And
Small
that's, like I said, our historic experience informs our new construction. So
And I
you'll
find
see a
that
lot of
encouraging.
brick, a lot of stone, flat roof, industrial-style windows.
Yeah.
We are not going to put a suburban product, I don't even know how to build a suburban product, in the middle of a downtown,
Yeah.
right? We've seen projects that, they look like extended stay hotels, but they're apartments in downtown communities. It just doesn't work. And
Nice.
no, we certainly do
No-
not do that.
No boutique hotels?
We tried a boutique hotel, and if you want to finance it, I'd be happy to try it again, but,
I'll pass.
yeah, we like that entire concept, but finding, every time you open up the Financial Times, there's another hotel that isn't getting financed. So give it time, it'll come back around, but that's a really challenging market right now.
Sounds like a pretty exciting project.
We think so.
85 units.
What kind of time frame did you say on this? If
Well,
completion, if it's.
Yeah, so it'll take us 12 months to complete, so we should be finished end of next year, beginning of '25. Our goal is to finish as fast as we possibly can, because
Right.
projects don't make us any money when they're under construction, they just cost us money. So we will move as fast as we possibly can to.
Price is going up, you want to get done.
Well, just trying to control it. You know, you've really got to plan ahead now in a way that you didn't have to, even 2 years ago, 3 years ago. You know, you're buying out contracts, you're storing materials, contractors now have warehouses. You'll see a lot of Connex on site because we'll have to buy millwork and appliances and a lot of other things and get them on site because you can't wait until you need them anymore, then they're 6 months out.
So I'm just curious if you know, what is your demographic area that you're trying to hit? Is it the single person, a young couple, an older couple, a small family, 1 bedroom, 3 bedroom? What?
Yes. Yeah. Our Huntington project, we have folks in there from 19 to 94, and
I
everything
would
from
fit
young professionals who live downtown, retired, the assistant basketball coach. So these are going to be market rate apartments. So people are going to have to be able to afford what we're building, and we see a mix. Right now, it's not going to be a family-oriented development because it's downtown. We're not going to have a splash pad or a big playground or anything like that, but downtown is the amenity. And it'll be heavy 1 and 2 bedrooms with a couple of 3 bedrooms in the corners just because of the way it lays out. So we'll have studios, 1s, 2s, and I don't know, 3 or 4 3 bedrooms in there.
And parking?
Parking, we will have parking on site. And because of the way this site lays out, we are also going to be able to do diagonal parking. Hi, Mayor. Around the exterior of the buildings so that we can maintain green space on the interior of the site and push the parking to the exterior instead of building a beautiful apartment building around a big old slab of asphalt that takes up half the site. So we'll have plenty of parking,
Okay.
but it won't be.
You don't make any money on the asphalt parking?
No, and as I always tell people, asphalt's not an architectural feature either. So you spend $20 million on a beautiful building and asphalt, it's the first thing everybody sees. So we'll have some kind of parking diet on the site with tree islands and those kind of things, but a fair amount of the parking will be pushed to the outside, which also enables people to easily park where their apartment is to give them access.
Interesting. Okay, cool. Any other questions? No?
We've asked them all,
Any questions for Ian?
I'll think of something later.
Right.
Terry is working with us in partnership with Anderson AP Millworks to complete this design. So I know he wanted to talk a little bit about KEDCO's involvement in this process.
Welcome.
Thanks, Jeremy, commissioners. Just a couple of things, as Jeremy referenced early on, the partnership with KEDCO in the city with the acquisition and demolition of the sites. And then John referenced the RFP process. And so I just want to give some context to that and the role that KEDCO has played and will continue to play here in the near term. First of all, we worked with the city, Mayor and Jeremy, to develop an RFP, request for proposal, and distributed that in December to 70 development companies, construction companies, and architects throughout the state, northern part and central part. And then we received 7 proposals for this site. So I think that shows you some sense of demand of what this opportunity has. We conducted interviews, I think, of 4 of those folks. And John and AP and the entire team distinguished themselves both in how they presented and their experience of the team and their design. So when you see the conceptuals, I think you'll be pleased with that. You had a lot of questions. I think you'll see that blends well with the downtown and will be a real catalyst project, especially there on the west side. Now moving forward, I might make a note that there's 85 units. All of those units will qualify as workforce housing. And so because of that, they have made application. They're still market rate, but meet the criteria of workforce housing. And so they have made application to the Kosciuszko Land Development Trust for our revolving loan fund. And that board is meeting on Thursday, and so hopefully we'll be able to provide some additional resources in the short term to help with their construction costs. And then again, it's just been a great partnership working with the city and trying to get this project to fruition, and I think you'll be very pleased with it. Any questions?
Okay. Mr. Mayor, would you like to have a word?
Yeah, I apologize for being late, but in my role as a member of the Orthoworks Board, we're just upstairs listening to the importance of the orthopedic retention initiative that the city the county has received from Representative Snow, all the work that he's done. And obviously housing, workforce housing, as far as I'm concerned, is at the top of the list for retention. And this is all very obvious, but just to reiterate, I think I did the fastest 30 minutes in sports from upstairs to down here, listening to what's going on up there and wanting to make it down here so that you can understand how important this project is. So I'll leave it at that.
Thank you.
And as I recall, your State of the City address earlier this year, you made workforce housing a priority. So it's not.
It's a priority for the whole community.
Yeah, exactly. So that's nothing new for us. Thank you, Gary. Okay. Any other?
No, yeah, if you have any questions, certainly be
Ian?
able to answer.
No? Okay.
You need a motion on this, Jeremy?
Yes.
I'll make a motion that we adopt Resolution 2023-0606 as presented to this board.
Okay. We have a motion to approve by Mike. Resolution 2023-0606 as presented. Do I hear?
Second.
Bill makes a second. Thank you. And as presented. And are there any additional comments, questions?
I want to say thank you.
Thank you to all of you. That's a lot of work, and we recognize that.
Well, I meant thank you for believing in our community. You know, it's a good place to be.
It's a good place to be, with minor exceptions. Okay, I'll call for the vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, nay. We have approved. Resolution 2023-0606 as presented. Thank you very much. Good discussion. Thank you. And thank you for your time and patience. Okay, moving right along. Rebate yield. Always interested in rebates.
I'm sure this was the top of your reading list.
11%?
So, once again, this is just a compliance, so it's arbitrary compliance rebate and yield reduction reports that's required for our lease rental bonds, which is the Airport Industrial Park project. And we're required to report, it looks like maybe every 2 years. Once again, Baker and Tilly is charged with doing this. They have completed this report, so I wanted to make it public, aware to the public and to you, so you're not necessarily approving it or voting on it, you're just acknowledging receipt of that compliance, arbitrage compliance.
It's a 4-year, looks like.
Is it 4 years? I can't do math, yeah. You're right, 4
Well, there's
years.
a lot going on today.
Yeah.
Okay, we don't have to approve this or anything?
No, you're
It's
just
a
acknowledging
acknowledge-
receipt of it, yeah.
We thank you for that. Amongst all your other duties, you have to keep up with compliance issues as well, right? Okay, moving right along, assess values.
So once a year prior to, I think, the 15th of June, we are required to make the county aware of whether or not we're passing through any excess TIF. So this acknowledgement basically states that we're not passing through any excess TIF for the redevelopment northern TIF, the redevelopment allocation, redevelopment TIF Winona interurban, the northern residential economic development area, or the southern residential economic development area. This will go out to all the taxing agencies if you so approve it today. Much like what is in the annual financial report that was presented to you, you can see our bond liabilities and so forth. So we are not passing through any TIF in those TIF districts.
Okay.
So you need to approve this, and then we'll sign it and send it out to those agencies.
Okay. Any questions, concerns about this? This is a pretty standard annual type of thing.
Yes.
And it comes with your stamp of approval and recommendation?
Yeah, obviously, the reason we do the financial report every year is to make you aware of the project list as well as our financial obligations, i.e. bonds, and any debt that we have. This directly relates to that. You can see where our project funds are going. You can see the bond payments and debt obligations we have to make, whether it be through a bond issue or through pledges, like our $600,000 sewage pledge to the wastewater through the northern TIF. So all of the funds that we received are going towards that project list that we're working on, as well as any debt obligations or outstanding pledges.
Yeah, and there are numerous taxing units that we overlap with.
Yes. Yeah, so this, really what we're doing is notifying the county, school districts, library, solid waste district. So all those taxing agencies that overlap within our boundaries are notified.
Right.
Townships, the various townships.
I'll make sure the school corporation gets that information. Okay, are there any questions, concerns?
No, thank you, Jerry.
Entertain a motion.
Bring it home, George.
I'll move to approve
I'll
as
second.
presented.
I'll second.
Mr. Clemens makes a motion to approve this statement as presented, and Mike seconds that. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, nay. It is approved, and I will sign it after the meeting. It's concluded. Okay, thank you very much. And moving on along here. Which one was next? The extension of Petro Drive?
Yeah, I'll let Burke talk about his project a little bit, but really what they're requesting is they're planning a new development, and part of their request is for our participation in that development. So I'll let him talk about the development. What they're requesting is for us to finish that portion of Petro Drive that is not completed, some sidewalks and any sewer and stormwater infrastructure expansion that would need to be made along Petro Drive to enhance this development. I'll let him talk about the development, and then we can take any questions you might have.
Sure. Thank you, Jeremy. My name is Burke Richardson. I'm in-house counsel for Alan and Chris Collins, and you may not be overly familiar with them. I don't know that they've, Jeremy, correct me if I'm wrong, been before the committee asking for any type of TIF bonds or anything. Alan and Chris are the owners and developers of Tippy River Downs, Briar Ridge Apartments, Briar Ridge Villas, Lakeland Properties, and are also the developers of some commercial property where Wings, et cetera, is, and another commercial building just down the road from Wings, et cetera, just south of there. So all in all, they're developers of about a little over 500 units in Warsaw, total assessed value of just over $30 million. They're looking to complete a Phase 5 at Tippy River Downs, just north of the Walmart that's there. And on that property, it's a little under 8 acres. I'm going to put on 6 buildings. Each are 3 stories tall. Each building has in it 12 units, so it's a total of 72 units with another 8 garage bays. Each garage has 9 bays in it. So there's a garage bay for each unit that's there, 72 garage bays plus 72 units. And then ample parking around the development itself. The idea behind these developments is to kind of go along as another option that's a little bit different from what's already in Tippy River Downs or Briar Ridge Estates or Briar Ridge Apartments. And it's the 3-story, it's a little bit higher cut, a little bit higher executive level. We're calling them Del Mar Court, or a little bit like suites. Each unit's going to be about 1,500 square feet, 3-bedroom, 2-bath. Each building's going to have an elevator in it. So it'll be easy access all the way to the 3rd floor as opposed to using stairwells and those types of things. Each building is going to have an ADA compliant unit in the ground floor of each building, which will have close to it an ADA approved parking space. So well above 72 units, that's a little under 2 units would have to be is that 2% level that we try to meet for ADA compliance. This will have 6 in it. So it's the whole development is kind of designed more towards a little bit of an executive level that maybe has a 1-bedroom, 2-bedroom with an office, those types of things. Looking at potential rents right now between $1,500 and $2,000 a month. Anything above that would include something being furnished and those types of things as may be requested from some of the local employers that they need to have somebody here for 6 months and they don't want to bring all of their furniture and those types of things. They have in the past, or we have in the past, finished out some of those units and provided bedding and couches and TVs and those types of things, and that kind of raises the rent for those types of amenities. But for the most part, just like in all the other developments, it's just the unit itself renting somewhere between $1,500 and $2,000 a month. Development schedule, hopefully here, get started this fall, finish in 12 to 18 months, get everything up and moving as fast as possible. I know that the excavation crew is excited to get over here and get started moving dirt and get all that taken care of. Spoken with Indiana American Water and our contacts there to get that started, looking at designing or finishing off that design. Were you able to send to everybody the concept of the design that we've put together, or?
Yeah, they do.
Okay, so that's 99% done. There may be a little bit of tweaking. Looking at with that area and the Petro development, had an agreement on terms of stormwater and how that would all work, and with the Walmart and all their areas, and putting together a final plan for that to go to TRC. But that's pretty much done.
And all 72 units are 3-bedroom?
Correct, yep, 1,492 square feet, 3-bedroom, 2-bath. And then, of course, the 6, one in each building, is gonna have the ADA requirements as far as lower countertops and pull under countertops and ADA bathrooms in them and all that already pre-done.
Okay. The Collins brothers are from Plymouth, aren't they?
Well, yeah, they are from Plymouth. They've been there, Alan would say, 43 years now. He's been in the business 43 years. He tells everybody that. Mr. Mayor's probably heard that over several years. Yeah, they're originally from Wabash, but they moved to Plymouth 42 years ago and started developing property through northern Indiana. So have just about 2,200 units now, finishing up a project in Peru. Just finished a project in Plymouth. Centennial Crossing in Plymouth. Peru is a brownfield project right on the Wabash River, 22 acres. Finishing up there is a multi-use development, kind of like Tippy River Downs. So next projects are this one here, finish up a phase 5, and then a project in Culver called the Dunes. End up being about 300 units in Culver. So again, mixed use types of multifamily versus single family condos. So this kind of fits right into the being out of Plymouth, fits right into the area where we want to be. We obviously are big fans of Warsaw and keep finishing out that Petro development. And it's been a huge success. I think occupancy right now is right around 97%. And you're obviously going to have some turnovers just in people moving in, moving out, things like that. But even through COVID and all those things, I don't think anything in Warsaw ever dipped below 85%. So we were able to make sure to work with all the tenants and things and keep people in their units, and all pretty happy. So looking forward to finishing out that development.
Excellent.
And again, I think at $30 million total assessed value for Kosciuszko County, and I don't think we've had any TIF zones or TIF contributions or anything like that. We're asking just to have that Petro Drive finished off, and we're going to have our excavation crews all pretty busy working on site and those types of things, and that having that taken care of and just extending that water line down and stuff really helps to take some of that off of our plate and allow us to move along a little bit quicker.
So is that why he's here today, Jeremy? He's asking us to finish off the road?
Yes.
Which
And
is currently a stone construction access type of.
Correct, yeah. As they were looking to finish up this development in this little area, they hadn't yet completed that area. So I've been working with Jeremy and trying to figure out ways to, one, get some of the roads in Tippy River turned over to the city, and taking ownership of that, and just Petro Drive as part of that discussion. And then Alan came up with a plan to develop this area. The idea was maybe a retailer would want to purchase it and put a store there so we could sell it just outright, but Alan came up with this plan for more units, and so put together this design, and working with Jeremy, seemed like maybe as part of that road turnover, and have the city put that in as part of the contribution to this development, so that we can continue to provide market rate housing with the cost of materials and everything going up. It allows us to kind of move a little bit quicker.
Good.
I think Burke did a pretty good job they've been in this community. I think their first development was a year after I showed up. They did the commercial development along State Road 15, I think 2005, 2006, somewhere in there. So that was my first experience with Alan Collins, and then on from there, the 3 other developments, we've never had any issues with them. They've done excellent work. Never hear any complaints from anybody. They have never asked us for anything.
The other development that was done was Northwest Woods. Alan and Chris went in there and picked up, if you remember there, just north of Briar Ridge Villas. Northwest Woods kind of stalled a little bit and had several units. Alan and Chris went in and bought up the rest of those lots and finished out all that and resurfaced the road. I think the road just had like the first grade on it, didn't it?
Yes.
It was kind of.
So there were some issues with that. They worked with us to correct those issues, fix those issues. That was kind of a bad timing scenario. That project was developed right before the housing market collapsed.
Yeah.
Mr. Carey, who we worked with a lot, unfortunately, I think passed away shortly after that. So just kind of a confluence of circumstances in that. We're fortunate enough to have them come in and finish that and work with us to finish that subdivision out.
And as part of it too, just to finish everything off, Tippy River Downs is also operated and maintained by Property Management and Maintenance, which is also a Collins company. So all those developments stay in-house. So Alan and Chris build and hold as opposed to build and sell. So it's their intent with this development as well to have Property Management and Maintenance care for all the grounds, rent all the units, maintain everything. And as a build and hold company, they put in high quality products. So it doesn't make any sense for them to put in lower level products and then have to replace them themselves. Mm-hmm. So everything that they have or they develop is going to be of high quality standards and make sure that it stays nice for a long time so that they don't have to replace it.
Long-term investment.
Correct, yeah. So Alan and Chris are always striving for singles and doubles. They're not trying to hit home runs or try and take out all their money up front through a development fee. They're just trying to develop quality products and then collect the revenue stream on a 20, 25-year amortization schedule as opposed to 5-year, like some developers might do with collecting it all up front and then going to Tahiti or something, so.
Yeah, so we've had a great relationship with LaPorte Equities and certainly Burke since he's been with them. Like I said, every project they've done, they've completed, and they've completed what they said they would complete at a high level. So I don't have any issues with whether or not they'll get this project done as well. All along, we had had conversations back and forth on Petro Drive. It was left the way it was now to finish out their current development. So it was a construction drive entrance, so we didn't want them completing that road prior to that being completed. After it was completed, we started having conversations about this and on what that site becomes. So it certainly makes sense if we are to contribute to this project, which I am in support of doing, that our contribution would be to finish that Petro Drive and connect any sewer or storm infrastructure that would need to be connected to the site.
I think the loop just runs from the northeast, or west quarter there, and the main just has to run along Petro over to Sheldon. And that's capped at both sections there,
Yeah,
so it's
we'll
just
look at it
one.
and see whatever needs to be done, but
Yeah.
certainly for us to contribute to this project, that would be the likeliest way to do that. Infrastructure improvements, what we do, it's in the Northern Tip District. It is residential development, especially multifamily, which we desperately need, and market rate, which we also need. So for us to contribute to this project, this makes the most sense in doing so in this fashion.
So, how long is this road? When do you want to do it?
Well, we will get with them on a construction timetable, and then we will budget, we'll get the engineering done, and we'll work with them so our work ties into theirs, and we'll figure out a timing. I'm guessing we would probably maybe have this ready to bid out sometime next year. We'll talk to Burke and see what their time schedule is.
So not this year, it's a next year project.
No, because honestly, right now, getting engineers to do the work is probably going to be a challenge. So
Okay. And we wouldn't do it in-house? Street department?
we haven't talked about it.
Okay.
I don't know.
I guess that's why I'm
I
asking
don't
questions, because
wanna-
I don't have a
yeah,
lot of
you're right.
answers.
I don't know. I mean, my intent would not to be at this point. I mean, it's not that I can't have conversations with Dustin, but I know that little things, I think they can do. Big
Okay.
things, it comes a little, they have so many projects planned, so something like this would probably take up too many man-hours for them to do. So I don't know. I can talk to him about it, but I don't know that would be, and we certainly, well, there's some other projects we might kick around on what we do contribute and what we don't, but the intent right now would be that we would engineer it and put it out to bid.
Maybe we could time it when we do 300 north up there
Maybe. It
to
could
the
be.
west, past Sylvia's Drive.
Maybe.
Because it's really close.
It is very close, yeah. And I, quite frankly, my thought is we're probably going to ask that firm to do the engineering on
Yeah.
it, just because they're already working north of there. So it makes sense for them to try to tie this into it. And maybe we can bid these out as a, project that needs to be done this year, project that's waiting
Yeah.
to be done next year. I don't know. We probably don't, we're gonna want them to do some of their a lot of their heavy construction before we go
Yeah.
building the road, but we'll figure that timing out.
Yeah, and as the plans kind of show, we're not accessing the development off of Petro. So whatever works on the development schedule, they're gonna be ready to get the excavation crews out here and start moving dirt and getting things leveled out pretty quickly, and we already have materials and things ordered and stored, so we're well on our way to finishing a lot of things off. So however we work that schedule together and work with, like I said, Indiana American Water, we've already got our contacts there to get that rolling and see what the design is, and have sent that off to them, so.
This mentions sidewalks, streetlights, curb gutters. Are we all in on all that?
We would be on anything that's in the right of way, yes. I don't know that we have any streetlights out there, we'd have to look at that, but yeah, any road signs, gutters, curbs, stormwater, sewer, and sidewalks, we would be providing in that section.
No utilities?
Hmm?
No utilities in that?
Well, we would do any
We-
public utilities.
Right.
Including Indiana American Water. Now, wouldn't do like telephone or
We do the sewer.
cable or anything like that, but sewer line, storm, sanitary, and Indiana American Water would be part of what we'd be agreeing to do.
It's often easier to take things out than it is to put them back in, or put them in afterwards. So that's why we put everything in there, and then, not knowing exactly what the streetlight plan was,
Yeah.
you just kind of include that in there as a
So
consideration.
Jeremy, what do you need from us?
Basically,
Just
you
a presentation?
Well, it's
Things
kind
to
of
come?
just, just you approving, us working with Laporte Equities to contribute to this project by designing and constructing that Petro Drive section.
Okay.
Is this, in essence, a memo of understanding?
Yes.
uh,
Yep.
Towards,
Sure.
that we're willing to work with you on this.
Yeah,
Correct.
before they get started and doing what they need to do, they wanted some, input from you guys on whether or not we would agree to do this.
Mhm.
I'm saying that we would still put together an MOU with a timeframe, construction timeframe, that we would both sign, but this is kind of the first salvo in saying, yeah, we would agree to partner with you on this project.
So you just need us to say, yeah, we like this, why don't you put together a memorandum of understanding and bring it back, is that it?
Yep.
Okay, I'd make that motion.
Okay, motion?
Do you need a motion? I mean, is that what you need, a motion and a second?
Yeah.
Second?
Okay, I'll second it then.
Okay, Mike makes a motion to approve this.
To proceed with an MOU?
MO.
So get it in writing and
MOU
then,
based on this,
yeah,
this letter.
this, what we have here today.
Yeah. And Mr. Clemens seconds that. So, further discussion? Well, thank you very much for the,
Thanks for coming
Yeah,
in.
absolutely. Happy to bring anything else if Jeremy wants me to come back.
Sounds like a
in.
nice project.
yeah.
Present.
we're
I don't know that
looking forward to
I'll give you an example of an MOU that we've done. We'll put
Okay.
that together. I don't know if you need to come back, but that'll be up to you. But
Yeah.
at the next meeting, we'll.
I've used several MOUs, so we can,
Yeah,
I'm
so
sure
if
we
you have an
can.
example, we can put one together, get
Mold it
that
together.
signed, and then, and with that, we'll work out a schedule, what you guys' time frame is. And,
Okay.
and
Yeah.
so we know what we need to get done and when we need to get it done.
Yeah, same here. Perfect. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we have a motion to proceed with an MOU on this project based on what we have before us. Any further discussion? Hearing none, call for the vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion is approved. Okay. That's Petro Drive, and bill of sale with Mentor.
Yes. So this is kind of the final step in that disposition. So you have the bill of sales. We're just approving your signature, signing the sale of that equipment to Mentor Media.
Do we get $1 for that?
Yeah, you do.
Okay.
You'll never see it.
Hey. George, you'll never see that $1. Sorry. Okay. And the equipment is conveyed as is.
Yes.
And the warranties related to the manufacturer.
Implied or offered?
All right. I think we've all discussed this in the previous sessions, so any questions for Jeremy on this bill of sale?
Need a motion?
Yes.
I'll make a motion. We approve the bill of sale. Mentor Media.
George makes a motion to approve the bill of sale as presented. Second?
Second.
Bill seconds that. Thank you, Bill. Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the bill of sale as presented. I'll call for the vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Thank you. All right, moving right along.
Now, this last item's a real piece of work. There's a lot.
Annual financial report.
Yes,
You will-
as required.
You'll rarely see one 18 pages long.
Well, this is pretty typical to what you see when we do bond issues. You'll see all this information provided in those bond issues. So this
Yeah.
is just our annual reporting requirements to be in compliance. So Baker Tilly once again has completed our annual information to be compliant. And the one thing I was going to tell you, if you look in here, It has top 10 largest taxpayers,
Mm-hmm.
and you'll notice who's on that list, so.
Mm-hmm.
Certainly, we've got a lot of great businesses within the community, a lot of investment that's been made. So, like I said, you do need to approve this. There's some pages that you will sign, basically, that will be submitted to the appropriate agencies saying that we are in compliance.
Jeremy, did anything in this report jump out at you that you took note of, or good or bad?
No, like I said, if you, when we do bond issues, this is you're gonna see all of this again, because it's pretty typical of about every bond issue we do. It's kind of the report that's provided to those people that are investing in those bonds.
I started to read this. Page 12 in footnotes, the very first paragraph. I didn't realize there were that many deductions in the assessed value. Just a comment on my part. It's quite a few, but there's a lot of fine print in this.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it's, takes a lot to put that, something like this together. A lot. And net assessed value of the largest taxpayers in the area. It's a pretty interesting list.
Yeah.
There it is. Okay. All right. Any questions regarding this financial report? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
George makes a motion to approve the annual financial report as presented. Thank you. Do I hear a second?
I can second.
Mike seconds the motion. Okay. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Is approved as presented. Thank you very much. That's a lot of work.
That's a lot of work.
Painfully-
lot of
I'm
information.
painfully aware of that. How much work that is. All right. We covered a lot of territory.
We
tonight.
did.
All right.
We really did.
Other business, the schedule for the remainder of the rest of the year, I guess, right? The schedule.
Yeah, so we did that kind of 2-week schedule. I don't know whether you want to approve this or not, or if you want to look at it first. It's up to you guys. Either way, what we would do is we would have that ability to have that second meeting a month if need be, and kind of follow the way the city council set up. So we would meet that 4 o'clock prior to the city council at 7. So first and third Mondays at 4.
Except
You
in
can-
July.
Except for
In
holidays.
September.
Except for holidays.
Well, I think we need to schedule, even if something doesn't come up, we can always cancel it, but at
Yeah.
least we'd be aware that it's a possibility.
Yeah, so if you want to accept this new schedule, we can do that, and then basically we would just that Friday before, we'd send out a notice saying we're not going to have that extra meeting.
Yeah.
If it's needed, we will hold it. If it's not, then we won't.
Or if you have a problem with quorum.
Yeah, initially my thought would probably be that we'll probably end up maybe meeting once or twice, but as things start to build, it's probably going to be more common that we will have that extra meeting.
And they seem to be building.
Yeah.
Yep. There's a lot of building going on. And that's a good thing, right? Absolutely. All right. I think, would you like to make a motion to approve?
I'm for it. Anybody else?
Mike?
Yeah.
Mike makes a motion to.
I'll make a motion that we accept this.
As presented, and Bill seconds that? Very good. Okay. Well, any further discussion? George? Okay. I'll call for the vote. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, nay? We'll do that, and you'll notify us on
Yeah,
the
so
second meeting of the month.
We will plan that every first Monday we will have a meeting. And then I will notify you guys the Friday. You'll either get an agenda or a notification that we didn't have enough to have a meeting.
Okay. I will note that the July meeting, I will not be here.
I'll
So
be
I
absent
would like,
too.
you will be absent?
I'll be gone.
Okay.
July meeting, oh, there's only
No,
one.
it's only one. I'm out of town.
Me too.
So we may not have
Be here
July.
for July. Yeah, I should be
We'll
here
have to
for July.
contact Jeff and see.
Yeah, we'll find out if Jeff has
Yeah,
any
Jeff
conflicts.
is gonna be here.
We can, if that July 10th doesn't work, we can always maybe move that to like the 17th or something. whatever.
I'll still be gone.
Well, when in July will you be here?
I'll be here like the 29th.
Accepted this position and now he's leaving town.
We'll get with Jeff. If we need to adjust, we'll send out an email to see if there's another day that we can at least have 3 people.
Would you let me know about that?
But after that, I'll be here.
Thank you.
Jeremy, would you be able to do a virtual meeting if you needed to?
Technically, I think we approved that, so yeah, we could
Yes.
if we needed to. Yeah.
I'd not be available.
Are
You know
gonna be
what?
gone too?
I'm
I think I'm,
That's good, because I don't want to
Will
do
you
a
be gone
virtual
July
meeting with
no,
people.
I don't, I'm just here for the,
It's difficult to do.
The only other thing I had was 2024 budgets will be presented at that July meeting, which no one's going to be at. So congratulations. Your budgets have now been approved. So we may be having that second meeting this month. So I am almost done with them. I will get them out to you as soon as I can. If we can't make July work a certain date, we can do it at that second meeting in June.
And I'll be here for that.
And so I will try to get those budgets out to you guys this week. And then we'll maybe do that. Maybe that's going to be our meeting in, second meeting in June. So we'll do the budget meeting instead of waiting until July.
Okay. We'll see about how that works out, okay?
Yeah, like I said, I got a lot to get through in the next week, so I'll get them into your hands as soon as I can.
Very good. Thank you very much. That's a lot. We covered a lot of territory tonight. Mr. Mayor, you have any comments for the group?
Make my comments, thank you.
All right.
Perseverance today.
Well, I think it might be worth saying to the mayor that we know you put in a lot of work on this housing stuff, and it's all starting to come to fruition. I mean, we are seeing the fruits of years of labor, and your labor, our labor, the council's labor, so thank you.
It's been a real team effort, I think.
And it's
the way I see
starting
it.
to pay off, and
You can
just
quote me on it.
wanted to get that out there.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's truly a team effort.
Very good. Thank you. All right. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Mike makes a motion to adjourn. Second. George seconds. All in favor, say aye. We are adjourned. Thank you very much,
Thank you.
everyone. Thank you for the members of the press. And now,
Do I need them to sign it?
Oh. No. We'll be able to sign this.
No, I have stuff for you to sign and all these deals.